You just watched a video where Steve Jobs pitched his invention, the iPad, to a group of investors. They didn't seem all that impressed. How about you? Would you have invested in Steve Jobs and his iPad invention?
I wish I had the chance to invest in the iPad. They sold 300,000 on the first day.
Forget the iPad. I'm investing in home soda makers. Sales increased nearly 900% in just 4 years.
So why do people invest? Well, the truth is there are many reasons why people invest. First and foremost, to make money. But mostly people invest also for retirement, for long-term income. In retirement, you only have a certain amount of money and it has to last. If your money isn't invested, you're going to deplete it pretty quickly. People also invest to achieve a goal, for example, saving to buy a car or a house. And other people invest just to keep money safe. Not everybody needs a big rate of return. Some people simply want the money to be there no matter what. And there are investments that suit those people, things that are guaranteed by the Government of Canada or one of the banks. There are so many ways for you to invest, but let's take a look at some of the more common ways to invest. Stocks and bonds. A stock is a share in a company, an actual ownership share. And with that, you have a vote and a say in what actually happens in the company, and you also get a share in the profits. But as such, if something happens to the company and they were to go bankrupt, the value of your stock will fall, potentially to zero. So there's risk. On the other side, companies can issue bonds. Bonds are essentially an IOU, where the company goes out into the market, asks investors for a certain amount of money, and guarantees to pay it back at a certain date with a certain rate of interest. It's really an IOU, but it's much more secure than a stock because it's guaranteed by the assets of the company. For example, if they were to go bankrupt, you may have claim on their manufacturing plant, ensuring that you get some of your money back. A GIC, which is likely the most safe of the three that I've mentioned so far, is a guaranteed investment certificate. Now, these are offered by the bank, and they're guaranteed down to the last penny. No ifs, ands, or buts. They are extremely secure, but as such, the rate of return is quite low. Treasury bills are a way for the governments of Canada and the United States to finance their operations on a short-term basis. They issue them usually for 1, 2, or 3 month periods. As they're fully guaranteed by the government, very low risk, you can expect the rate of return also matches that. Now, mutual funds are a pool. They contain stocks, bonds, possibly some real estate. It's a basket where in one pool, your money is diversified into a number of different investments all at the same time. This helps lower your risk. It's essentially not putting all of your eggs into one basket. An ETF, or an exchange-traded fund, is where you buy a single share that mimics the performance of an index. For example, you can buy a share on the Toronto Stock Exchange that mimics the performance of that actual index, the TSX. So as that index goes up and down, this share should mimic the performance identically. Real estate, again, is the most common form of savings used around the world. Pretty much everyone buys a house eventually, and it's one of the safest investments you can make. Over the long term, property typically always goes up. They're not making any new property these days. So as demand increases, value creeps up slowly. It's much more of a long-term asset and not something we're going to get into in this program, but you should know. TFSAs, that's a tax-free savings account. This was set up by the government a few years ago to provide Canadians a way to save and invest, but do it on a tax-free basis, meaning whatever you grow inside that account, the government can't take. You can theoretically double your money, and the government can't take a penny.
If you're 18 or older, with a valid social insurance number, you can invest up to $5,500 every year in a TFSA.
Now, the RESP, that's an education savings program, and this is where your parents will actually save and put money aside for your university. The government allows them to put money aside, they'll match up to a certain percentage, and at the end of the day, when you go to university, the money is taken out tax-free. Similar to an RRSP, which is a registered retirement savings plan. Now, this is where your parents save for retirement. It's an account that when money goes in, it's then sheltered from tax, and you can invest inside that account tax-free for a number of years, up until age 71. Investments in the real world usually happen over a period of several years. Nothing happens quickly. My clients invest for the long term, and when we buy a stock, it usually gets held for 2, 3, sometimes 4 years at a time. Now, this is different than you and different than most people who invest. You only have 6 weeks. We don't have the liberty of long-term investments. So we've got to start getting the ball rolling now, thinking about ideas on where you want to put your money and things where you expect that over the next 6 weeks, you can generate a positive return. So where do you come up with good ideas to invest in? Well, you can ask your parents where they're investing. All of your parents right now are saving through RRSPs, and they likely have several stocks. You can ask them what they're buying and where they've made money in the past. You can also find companies that you know, products that you like. The Warren Buffett method. He had a great lunch at Dairy Queen and bought the company. Or you can read the paper and find out global trends or themes or even events that you think are going to be profitable down the road. In this video, we learned you can invest to make money, for long-term income, to achieve a goal like savings for post-secondary education, to support growth, and to keep your money safe. There are many types of investments, including stocks, bonds, GICs, treasury bills, mutual funds, ETFs, real estate, TFSAs, RESPs, and RRSPs. For investment ideas, talk to your parents, read the news, or look into your favorite products or businesses. So start thinking about what you want to invest in. And when I come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about what a stock market is.